Hi guys, it's Alexis from We Rise Yoga. So welcome. I'm glad you're all here with me today. I want to start off with a wonderful quote by the great Aristotle. He says, "You are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence ought to be a habit, not an act." And I love that because I think it's so true about coming into your physical self, right? So many times I see people, because I teach in drug and alcohol recovery, and they'll sporadically come to a yoga class here and there, but they're not really in it, right? They're not really in that place where they're moving from unhealthy to healthy and they're going to stay there. And it's the people who show up for themselves every single day, because working your physical body every single day is hard. It's hard to come into this and come into these transitions and figure out the coordination and the right and the left and really be present in your body, right? That's hard. And what we see starts to happen is this space starts to develop, and it takes a really long time to close that space between you and your physical self. And I always like the analogy of the guitar, right? I played the guitar for years, and I would practice every day, and I would go see my instructor once a week, and I was getting really good at it, right? And I had a lot of dexterity in my fingers. And then what happened is I just stopped playing, and over time I lost that. And if I want to get that back, it's going to take me probably a good year, maybe even longer, to get that back. And that same thing happens with your body. If you create too much space, it's going to take a long time, and it needs to be a daily practice. It really does, and I truly believe that. So I'm glad you're all here with me today, and I hope you can continue. Once you find the momentum, keep it going. Take your medicine every single day, and that transformation will slowly start to take place, and then your body's going to want it. It's going to need it. Your brain is going to ask for more complex, compound movements where there's a lot more balance involved, a lot more choreography and movement, and the connection with the breath becomes more fluid, and it just becomes a really wonderful experience to have that relationship with your own body. So that's it. Let's go ahead and get started. Coming into a comfortably seated position, and whatever that means for you, that can mean your feet out, your feet in. It's up to you. And just beginning to notice the arrangement in the room, the structure of your seat, the simplicity and immediacy of your breath. Take a moment to notice the connection of your body up against the earth. That self-regulation technique we use called grounding. And then maybe you can start to elongate the exhales, just a little bit longer than the inhales. So just becoming a little more in tune. Remember, the exhales connect us to our parasympathetic nervous system, so they allow everything to kind of slow down, the body to catch up with the mind to catch up with the body. Bringing in a sense of presence, allowing the breath and the movement to be a conduit into your spiritual being. Let's try it together by taking a collective inhalation, breathing in through the bottom base of the lungs, and then open the mouth with a sweeping, cleansing exhale. Again, deep inhale, filling up. Maybe you notice a natural expansion or elongation. And exhale, sighing it out. Maybe you try engaging navel to spine, tucking chin to chest, so essentially the body becomes like an empty vessel. Let's try it with the lips sealed. Inhale. Pause at the peak. Try keeping the lips sealed as you exhale. So you may notice a little more sound, a little more texture. It may take you longer to exhale. That is all intentional, yes? Again, inhaling, lips are sealed. Pause at the peak, maybe try swallowing. Keep the lips sealed as you exhale. This is called Ujjayi Pranayama breath. It is a breath to help you self-regulate. It's a tool that you can use, and the more often, just breathe comfortably now, the more often you practice this breath in moments of challenge in your body, in moments of stress in your body, you will learn to be able to carry that outside into your daily life, which is truly what this practice is about. So just breathing comfortably now, let's take a moment to set our intentions, bringing the arms up high above the head, palms together, taking new energy into our hearts. Now is a good time to set your intention. What is your intention for you today, right now? Maybe right now you choose to be grateful. Grateful for your health, for the ability to move and breathe with a sense of empowerment. Maybe today you're grateful for the people in your life who give you strength. Maybe today you choose a sense of peace. Not only a sense of peace inside of this space, but outside of it as well. Whatever it is for you, just let it be something that makes you better. Let's take a deep inhalation. Exhale, seal it in. And let's make our way into a tabletop position, yeah? So we're just gonna make our way forward. I'm gonna turn sideways, you can see my profile. Into our tabletop with the wrists underneath the shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, the tops of the feet to the floor. Let's begin with a gentle cat-cow. On the inhale, dropping the belly down. On the exhale, rounding the spine, tucking chin to chest, doming in space. And maybe you take a moment to suspend the body in the peak of the exhalation to just kind of notice how you feel in that shape. And doing it at the peak of the inhale too. So inhaling, taking a moment to pause, to breathe and to feel, and then to exhale, move through you. So just connect with your own breath here, with your own fluid, playful movements in the body, noticing not only the form, but the quality of movement as well. So it's really important to kind of mesh both of those together at some point. In the beginning, you may be really focused on form and when to breathe and your body's place in space. But over time, start to really bring in a sense of quality to the movements as well. So maybe like a performance in the move, a playfulness, a grace, a fluidness, not just paying attention to form, but really paying attention to how you feel in that movement is important. So we're going to come into a neutral spine and move through some shoulders here today. So on the inhale, let's reach the right arm way up and maybe take a gaze past your thumb with your eyes, and with your inhale and an exhale, just dropping down softly onto the right shoulder and then adjusting as needed. So you might notice your knees need to go a little bit further apart here. And then you can keep your hand here as is. You can bring it high over the top of your head like so, just planting the finger pads. You can also try bringing the arm up high above the head, and maybe coming into a soft bind, either placing the back of the hand to the left waist or maybe even gripping the inside of the left thigh. So you can experiment with all of these things, notice what feels good for you and your body, and then just take a moment in that shape to pause and breathe and feel. Nothing forced, just kind of a softness here for 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then wherever your top hand is, just place it next to your face, and let's push back up into a tabletop position and just move through some gentle cat-cows here. I'm going to take off my sweatshirt, but you keep moving with your breath and your body. Finding that connection, that fluid connectivity. Notice how your body starts to connect with your own breath in moments like this, right? There's like this poetry and this wave. Good, and then making your way once again into a neutral spine. Let's move through the other side. So on the inhale, left arm comes up, and on the exhale, coming down, softly onto the shoulder. Again, you can keep the hand where it's at.
I'm finished with my...
Okay. Go play with your brother for a little bit, okay?
Well, I'm going to go and
Either placing the hand high above your head with the finger pads just lightly touching the earth, so being aware of your touch up against the earth. Or once again, maybe you bring the arm up nice and high. You can bring it up and around, coming into that soft bind with the back of the hand touching the right hip, or maybe reaching through to grab the inside of the right thigh. So noticing what feels good for you here, sometimes widening the knees apart. Creating space where space is needed, and noticing where you need to create space and elongate and expansion. That's part of the process of learning your own body from the inside out. So just connecting with that, connecting with your shape for a moment, your breath, your energy, your awareness. See if you can stay long and consistent in the breath as well. So finding focus there for 3, 2, and 1. Good. Releasing the bind. Wherever your top hand is, just bring it back next to your face, and let's push the body back into a tabletop position. 3 more cat-cows here. Take your time. I'll certainly give you time to finish, allowing the body to find that movement, that grace. I'll give you time for 1 more full cycle, and I'll certainly give you time to finish, so no rush. Always take the time to find your own rhythm in practice, right? Never anything forced or rushed. And when you're finally finished, taking a moment to make your way into a neutral spine. And let's take the right foot back, and I'd like for you to notice a weight transfer. So weight transfers become really important in learning how to manage your energy and how to move with softness and grace, and also precision and confidence. So notice the weight transfer here as you push the weight back into the heel. And then we'll do the other side. So just kind of transferring it back. This is very soft on the knees, so you can find a lot of length there through the back of the knee. Now I'm going to keep my left foot grounded into the earth as it is and bring my right foot up to meet the left. However, you can always do a plank on your knees, or you can have the knees off the mat. If you are on your knees, can you slope the bottom here? Not necessarily a tabletop, this is tabletop, but down with your knees down to the earth. And then just take a moment to notice your body here. Planks can be super powerful. They can also bring a lot of balance into your body. So noticing where your body has felt out of balance, where you need to bring in balance and strength. Only you can feel that, right? Only you can do the work. So it's up to you to find that for yourself and where you need to be in this space. And maybe you try shifting slightly forward so that your shoulders line up in front of the wrist, taking an inhale, and with your exhale, let's gently lower for 5, taking your time. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Now, if you've noticed that your hips sag towards the earth there, we're going to try that one more time. And I want you to see if you can lower your hips and your chest at the exact same time. So let's tuck the toes, inhale to plank. Come slightly forward over the wrists with the shoulders. Take an inhale. And with your exhale, let's lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. Good. So let's work on a little spine strengthening here. We're going to bring the wrists back and line them right underneath the elbows, toes and heels together to touch. So I prefer to elevate my knees and shins above the earth. I like the space there. Some people like their knees rooted into the earth. It's never wrong. Yeah, unless it hurts your body, then you need to readjust. But Figure out what works for you here. See if you can soften the buttock flesh, pulling the shoulder girdle back to begin with. I continue to keep my gaze down here as inhale to rise. So lifting from upper back, and mid-chest, rather than squeezing the buttocks. So really using the upper back to lift and noticing with awareness where your energy is coming from. Holding it here, continuing to breathe, softness in the face for 3, 2, and 1. Gently lower back down. Coming down onto your chest. I'm going to keep my toes and heels touching and bring the hands over the back like so with the palms facing the sky. And I'm going to elevate my knees once again because I like that for me. But again, you can keep your knees down. And then on the inhale, beginning to lift up. And on the exhale, I'm going to take my hands away from the base of my spine here. So there's a lot of space being created that's very intentional. Shoulders back, soft bend to the elbow for 3, finding the breath. 2, and 1. Gently lowering. Let that feel good. And then we're going to switch the hands. So opposite hand on top, toes touch, heels touch, option to elevate the knees. Inhale, lifting from upper chest, resist the urge to squeeze the buttocks. And then bringing the hands above the sacrum. Keeping the gaze down towards the earth, a soft gaze, a steady breath. Find that consistent pattern for you. For 3, notice what you feel. 2, and 1. Let's gently let go. And then planting the palms, widen the knees as much or as little as you'd like to push into a child's pose. So I like my knees wide apart so that my body fits in to that space. But it's totally up to you. Child's pose can be done in many different ways. Just taking a moment here to feel the connection up against the earth, softness in the face, a sense of containment. And if you feel a little bit of discomfort in the lower spine, know that that is your spine getting stronger. Unless you feel like a really sharp shooting pain that hurts really bad immediately, most of the time it's just your spine getting stronger, which is super, super important. You know, I think as a society, we tend to not think about our spines, right? A lot of work is done to strengthen the core and get the six-pack and moving through the front of the body, but people tend to ignore their spines, and then they find out that it's too late, and their back starts to hurt, and their knees start to hurt, and their feet starts to hurt. So it's really, really important to generate a lot of strength back there. And so I dedicate a lot of work to working through the spine. So you'll find that here in this practice. Bringing your hands and knees back to the earth, tabletop position, tummy is nice and tight. Let's tuck the toes for our first downward facing dog. Welcome your impulse to move here. See if you can find a meditation in this moment. Meditation just means bringing your focus, awareness back into this space, a sense of presence, right? And it doesn't always have to mean that our bodies are still or seated. Our bodies can be alive with movement and energy and joy and strength. So notice that in your own meditation. Where does that take you when you change the dynamic of that thought a little bit? Yeah? See if you can push some of the weight back into the thighs here. Maybe softening the gaze or bringing the gaze up towards the navel or the upper thighs. As you become more confident in the way that you move, see if you can allow your spine to become longer with the way that the head moves. And so I'll cue you on that always, but I want you to start to notice it for yourself, that you can start to let go in moments like this rather than always cocking your head up to see what's going on. But finding that confidence within, yeah? Let's take an inhale, coming high up on the balls of the feet. And on the exhale, let's let our heels just kind of settle back down. In this moment, can you just totally be present in your shape, in your awareness, in your breath? And let's try taking the feet to the edges of the mat. Keep the toes facing forward if you can. And I'm just going to gently walk my hands back, keeping a soft bend to the knee as I just kind of hang in this little kind of monkey shape here. Maybe shaking it out a little bit, head left and right. Good. And then I'm going to
have a little more intention to my hands as I place them gently in front of me with the finger pads, and start to maneuver the sits bones towards the earth. So the feet may go out in a diagonal. You can start to bring in a little more challenge by trying to turn the toes forward to face directly in front of you, parallel with the mat. Mine like to go out a little bit. And then if you want to, you can keep your hands down to the earth. You can also come into this seated prayer position, pushing your elbows into your shins, a little bit of a deeper hip opener. Nice visceral sensation in the hips here. See if you can kind of pull the head back as if, imagine a wall behind your head that you're pushing your head up against. So this long, straight spine from crown of the head to the sits bones. And you have the option to either stay here. Some people like to bring their arms up for a little bit extra there, reaching out into space. Just wherever you are, notice the breath. Notice the shape of the body and what you feel. For 3, 2, and 1. Good. If you've brought the hands up, let's bring them back to the thighs for a moment. And then press the hands down into the earth and raise the sits bones back into the sky. Oh, joy. Joy? Yes. Always joy, yes. Maybe a soft bend to the knee, just kind of shake it off a little bit. I'm going to heel toe my feet in towards each other. They're about 6 inches apart. You can always measure that with 2 fists in between your feet. Keeping that soft bend to the knee, I'll place my left hand directly in front of my right foot. A soft bend to the right knee as I lift the right arm up in space. A gentle twist here. Good, and then I'm going to slowly switch, moving through the body with that control to bend through the left knee. Lift up the left arm. Finding the breath here for 3, 2, and 1. Good. Gently lowering down, keeping that soft bend to the knee. Let's inhale to rise halfway. So I like my halfway to be with my hands on my shins, a nice long spine. Some people like their hands on their thighs. Some people like their hands on the earth. So a little more diagonal trajectory. Figure out what works for you. What I would like for you to notice, hair flip, is that you have a nice long spine. So the shoulders are pulled back here. There's a lot of intentional activity in the body, right? I'm not just like dumping, which is very common. So in the beginning, so I want you to have a little more awareness with the shoulders living on the back, the gaze strong towards the earth, and the heart kind of, there's this opening to the heart here, right? So that theme plays out over and over in our practices. So notice here the shape of your body, the confidence, taking an inhale with an exhale, letting go, softening through the knees. And on the inhale, let's reverse swan dive. Arms out wide, grabbing new energy for a new day and taking it directly into your heart. Just a moment to connect, to breathe. I'm going to bring my feet together at the back of the mat. Some people like their feet apart for this. You can figure it out how you like. Okay? And I'm going to reach up and grab the left wrist with the right hand, keeping the buttock flesh soft, a deep inhalation. With the exhale, bringing the arm up and over to the right. See if you can allow your head to float between your arms. A slight twist of the chest open towards the sky. Maybe subtle movements with breath. So this kind of playful awareness of your body's place in space. Moving with intention and softness. Inhaling. One more full exhale. Lengthen and pull. Okay, good. Inhale, let's rise and switch. Grabbing the right wrist with the left hand. Reaching up and over. Turning the chest open towards the sky here, maybe bringing the gaze up towards the sky to kind of help you get that soft rotation. And then maybe subtle movements with breath as well, finding that connection with your movement, with your breath, with intention. For 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, let's rise, bringing the arms up and slowly lowering them down. Good, so we're going to come into cross-lateral patterning here. I'm not going to talk. I just want you to be aware of your movements. Pay attention to the details, the fingers and the wrists. But all that predictive cueing is gone right now. Just
Play it like it's a video game, okay? Find that connection.
Mommy, does this say soccer?
Yes, baby.
This says sock in. It does not because
It says soccer. I see it. Good. All right. You're so cute. Throw it behind you. Circles. I know your arms are getting tired. That is part of the intention in this space. That you can be with stress and challenge in the body, that you can be with it, that you can work your way through it, right? That ability to make your way through and accomplish it, yeah? Good, 8 more. Squeezing the back. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now pause, shoulders down, hold, and let it go. Ah. Good job. So all of the holding there and the contractions and the elongation, for your muscles to be able to hold stress like that and then release it, it's very, very healthy for you. And it also is very good for neurological reprogramming. Okay, so we're going to step up to the mat and start working with our basic patterns that we have come back to. Let's take a deep inhale, reaching up. Exhale, forward fold, letting go. And I'm going in straight into a sun A. Inhale, halfway lift. Pause for a moment, shoulders back. Notice your posture. Exhale, let's plant the palms. Walk, step, or jump it back to a plank. Now you have the option to go straight to down dog from here, but I'm going to move through my vinyasa. So exhaling through. Inhale to up dog. Broad chest, soft buttocks. Exhale to downward facing dog. Let's breathe. Inhalation. Sweeping, cleansing lion's breath. See if that breath can help you settle in. I often cue that breath because it can kind of help you learn to push some of the weight back into your legs, to let go a little bit, to soften in the face. Good, then when you're ready, let's take a deep inhale. On the exhale, look to the hands, maybe a soft bend to the knee. Walk or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, shoulders back. Exhale, let go. See if you can be soft in the knees. Inhale, reverse swan dive, arms out wide, reaching tall, palms together. Exhale, hands to prayer. Samastitihi. Come into the present moment. Feel your body. Twice more. Inhale, arms up nice and high. Exhale, forward fold, let it go. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, shoulders back. Exhale, plant the palms, walk, step, or jump it back. Option to go straight to down dog from here, move through your chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog, broad chest, soft buttocks. Exhale to downward facing dog. Let's breathe a collective inhalation. And a sweeping, cleansing exhale, lion's breath. See if that breath helps you kind of settle in. Maybe you can manage to push some of the weight back into the thighs, the calves. Good. Maybe a soft bend to the knee, a deep inhale. On the exhale, you can look forward. Walk, jump, or step to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, let go.
Inhale, reverse. Arms to the sky, reaching up nice and tall through the torso. Exhale, hands to prayer. Samastitihi. Come into the present moment. Good, so we're gonna do the last one on your own. Remember, you can't do it wrong unless you aren't listening to your body, but we're just moving with breath here, okay? So. Take as long or as little as you'd like in a downward facing dog. We'll all meet at standing, but please take your time in this shape. Notice what you feel, the shape of your body and the space that surrounds you. Good. Notice the differences there when you are on your own, right? And so much of this practice is learning how to figure things out on your own, right? Figuring out things for your body, where you've been out of balance, where you need to make shifts happen, where you need to bring in strength. And it can be really a powerful practice, especially when you have to go inside and do it for yourself. So good job, I'm proud of you. So let's do a little bit of balancing today. So at the top of your mat, we're just gonna stand. You can stand with your feet slightly apart or together. We're gonna do a hand to knee posture, yeah? So get kind of soft in your left knee here, and then we're gonna lift the right leg up to this parallel position with the thigh, flexing the toes towards the front of the room. Maintain this soft playfulness in the left leg, and you can just stay here and continue to work on balance, because this can be a really challenging part of the posture. If you want to take it further, you can take the right hand to the inside of the right thigh and bring the knee over to the side of the room. And if you want to stay here, you can stay here. You can also try bringing the left arm out. And then full expression would be to turn your gaze over the left hand. Keep in mind, anytime you turn your head or your gaze at a balancing position, it becomes much more intense. So totally up to you where you need to be today. Just notice where you are. See if you can truly notice that connection between brain, body, and awareness. Balancing postures are wonderful for really connecting that complex communication between brain and body awareness. Find the breath wherever you are for 3, 2, and 1. Good job. And if you've turned your head, let's try turning that back first. Let's try bringing the left hand back if you've brought that out. Let's try bringing the right foot back to center and pausing here for a moment. And if the foot came down, just bring it back up, finding the balance, softness in the left knee. And we're going to try 3 kicks here. So 1, 2, 3, and hold. For 3, breathe. 2, and 1, let it go, shake it out. Ooh, ooh. It's my second time doing this class today, so it's tough. Let's do the other side, yeah? So hands on the hips, again, softness through the right leg. When you're ready, you can bring the left leg up, flexing the toes towards the front of the room. You can stay here for today and just work on the balance in this form. And if you'd like to take it a little further, you can bring the left hand to the inside of the left thigh, moving it out to the side of the body. Option to stay here. Maybe you bring the right arm out. You can even try gazing over the right shoulder if that's in your practice as well. Keep in mind, if balance is an issue, try finding a spot below you to look at. When you bring your gaze down, it helps a lot with balance. So if you're trying to gaze directly in front of you or you're gazing up at something, that becomes harder with balance as well. It's easier to find balance gazing down. So for 3, find the breath. 2,
and 1. And if you've turned your head, let's try turning that back first, then bringing the right hand to the waist if that was out. Left leg back to center, pausing here. If the leg comes down, let's try bringing it back up. And then let's try 3 kicks together. 1, 2, 3, and hold. For 3, 2, and 1. Let it go, shake it out. Ooh, ooh, I feel it. Good job. So at the top of the mat, let's add on a little bit today. So coming to the front of the mat, let's take a deep inhalation, bringing the arms up nice and high. On the exhale, let it go. Planting the palms, let's step back to a downward facing dog. Good. Let's take the right leg and lift it up, a true 3-legged dog position for a minute. The knee is rolling straight down, so it's looking down towards the earth. But then I'd like for you to bend into that knee and allow that bend to just naturally carry your body into an external rotation. And then just notice what you feel here. If the weight has shifted underneath your hands, can you bring it back to keep it even underneath each palm? Can you keep the face soft? And then just notice what you feel here. This can be a really great one to unlock some of the stresses that get packed into our centers, right? Our gut is such an area where we feel a lot of energy, right? We feel things in our gut. We know when something is wrong. We can feel excited in our gut. We can feel a lot of stuff there. So kind of unlocking and unraveling through that area to create a little space. Good, and then when you're ready, let's kick the leg back up nice and high. And on the exhale, let's bring it through and plant the bottom foot down, or the front foot down, I'm sorry, and spinning the back foot down, coming into warrior feet. And let's inhale to rise, first warrior. Now you may notice in warrior that your body kind of turns to the side a little bit. So what I'd like for you to do is give a little bit more to the right side waist over here, left side waist, I'm sorry. And so we're kind of move towards the front of the room, and then consider this a heart opener. So maybe pulling the arms back to expand across the chest and open the heart. Taking a deep inhale, maybe lengthening through the fingers, the crown of the head, and with the exhale, let's try carving the body open for a warrior 2. So warrior 2 is considered a hip opener. So with that in mind, over time you may notice your feet want to go a little bit further apart to create space for you. That has a tendency to happen, but in the beginning, if your feet are closer together, it's fine. Try to get the thigh as parallel to the earth as you can, and then keep in mind that this is a hip opener. So we're moving the right knee open towards our right baby toes, but it's not just a hip opener, it's a heart opener. So with that in mind, can you expand across the heart? Maybe taking in a moment to really connect with your own warrior strength. There's this connection up against the earth, the expansion of the limbs, the heart open, the face soft. Let's take a moment to find the breath here. Inhale. You'll notice I come off the front knee slightly, and then on the exhale, finding a little bit more depth in that posture. Yeah. I love warrior 2. It's my favorite. I'm going to straighten out through that front leg, and I'm going to shorten the stance between my legs for a triangle. So you can kind of experiment with what works for you here. But I'm going to reach the arms forward as far as I can go, and then I'm going to flip the palms for a triangle pose. Now what I'd like for you to be aware of here is where your energy is going, because oftentimes, especially when people first start, their energy is dumping down towards the earth. But I want you to see if you can change the dynamic of what that feels like, if you can track your energy forward towards the front of the room, as if there's a magnetic force kind of lengthening you from the crown of your head towards the front of the room, and see if that kind of changes what you feel inside. And then just pausing in this shape for 3, 2, and 1. Inhale to rise. Turning the toes to face the side of the room. I'm going to interlock the fingers behind my back, shining the heart forward, taking a deep inhale, softening through the knees. And then just exhaling, lowering, letting it go. Just notice what you feel in the shape. Allowing the arms to drape over the back of the body. Sometimes I visualize like stress and tension just melting off my shoulders and the crown of the head in this shape. Just melting back into the earth. For 3, 2, and 1. Good. I'm going to come up halfway and keep a soft bend to the knee as I release the bind. Placing the hands to the earth, and I'm going to shift the entire body to face the front of the room in this long lunge. So please notice with this lunge that your knee is directly above the ankle. None of this.
Okay, it's gotta be a long lunge, and I know that can be hard to create, but I need you to try to maneuver as much as you can to get that nice long lunge. Now you can stay up like this if that's in your practice. You can also lower the back knee down. I like mine lower, so I'm gonna go lower. But again, my knee is always directly above my ankle. Okay, so look for architecture in the body there. I don't want you. You can stay up on the palms of your hands, your finger pads. You can maybe come down onto your forearms. It's totally up to you where you want to be in the shape, but just take you a moment to notice and feel and breathe. The hips are a space where we hold a lot of tension, and if you've been sitting down a lot and watching a lot of the news lately, it can stockpile and kind of gather there. So taking this moment to kind of unravel, unwind, and let go of some of that stuff that may have gathered up in your center. See if you can be soft in the breath, soft in the face. You do hear me cue the face a lot because our face is directly connected to our reptilian brainstem. So if you make a stressed face, you can feel that stress in your body. And over time it will accumulate. So learning to be soft in the face in moments of stress, in moments of challenge, yeah? All these tools to help you kind of self-regulate not only your bodies but also your thoughts. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. When you're ready, let's make your way up. I'm going to heel toe my right foot to the center of the mat. And then push the body weight towards the back of the room, flexing the toes towards the nose, driving the chin down, the shin bone closer towards the ankle. See if you can notice the forces by which you play. Are your hands driving into the earth? Are you dumping into your shoulders? Can you change the way that you're holding your body up, right? I often will relate to my yogis, the power that you place upon your fingers. Can you be like a cat, right? Like just kind of notice, you know how cats are very soft and graceful and confident in the way that they move? Can you find that in your own body? So I am not a cat person, but I like the way they move. Good. Let's take one more inhale and one more exhale. Just notice what you feel. And then when you're ready, I'm going to put a little bit of weight forward so that I can bring my right foot to meet the left. I'm going to bring the hips to heels, hands to knees. Let's sit up tall and breathe. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Notice what you feel. Let's do the other side, yeah? Let's do this one more side and then we'll come down and do a seated flow. Good stuff. Coming into a tabletop position, let's tuck the toes for downward facing dog. Lifting the left leg up nice and high, keeping the knee looking straight down. When you're ready, you can allow the knee to gently fold open. See if you can keep the weight even underneath your palms, the face soft, the breath calm. And then notice what you feel. Notice where you're expanding, creating space, elongation, expansion. For 3, 2, and 1. Good. Let's change the shape of that by turning the knee and hip to look face down. A deep inhale with a straight leg as much as you can. And on the exhale, softly, with softness, bringing the foot down underneath the breastbone. Spin the back foot down to find your warrior feet. Let's inhale to rise, first warrior. Again, giving a little bit more to the right side waist here to kind of have everything looking towards the front of the room. And then see if you can manage this to be a little bit of a heart opener, maybe pulling the arm bones back, lifting them up in space. A deep inhalation, maybe lengthening through the fingers, and with the exhale, gently carving the body open for warrior 2. Again, please notice if your feet want to go further apart here to create space. Not only a heart opener, but a hip opener. So with that in mind, can you open your hips, tracking your left knee towards your left baby toes, open your heart, allowing your shoulders to melt down and back. Can you just take a moment in this shape to truly be present? To notice on the inside softness and grace, on the outside confidence and strength. A warrior, yes? Shine your warrior heart and soften your warrior gaze and notice where you feel that.
Like you just want to feel the flow all over sometimes, yeah? Let's breathe one more time together, inhaling and exhaling. Good, I'm gonna straighten the front leg. I'm gonna shorten my stance. It's up to you if you need to do so for you. Inhaling, reaching the arm bones. Exhaling, flipping the palms, triangle pose. Again, tracking the energy, not down, but rather towards the front of the room. So notice this long, straight spine from sacrum to crown, moving towards the front of the room. Stretching the arms, connecting earth, connecting sky, lengthening through the heart center. Can you continue to maintain a sense of calm within the breath for 3, 2, and 1. Inhale, we rise. And we're going to turn the toes to face the back of the room. I'm going to angle myself this way so you're not just looking at my bottom, but I'm going to take the hands to my waist and come down here. And then when you feel ready, you can release the hands to the mat and just press into the mat as you elevate the sits bones towards the sky. See if you can be soft in the face here. Now, oftentimes people will have their hands way up here. See if you can walk them back. If you can't see the tips of your fingers, try walking the hands back a little bit in space and then pressing into the earth to find a lightness in the heels. You may notice you can shift some of the body weight to the balls of the feet. The other thing is that people often forget about their elbows here and just kind of let them go wherever, but can you bring a little more intention and awareness to your elbows by pulling them in towards each other? So essentially they kind of look like the number 11 or like you're doing a chaturanga. And so a little more awareness there is towards the midline, the heels lifted, the face soft, and then notice what it feels like to press against the earth. For 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Let's release the bind. Maybe come up halfway, and then we're going to turn the entire body to face the front of the room. So I have to adjust here. But we come into this lunge shape, and again, I have the knee directly above the ankle, right? Nice, clean architecture of the body. And so, option to stay here. Some people like to lower that back knee down. You can readjust as needed. My foot likes to turn to an angle, so that may be the case with you too. Some people like their foot forward, or they can even come into the knife edge of the foot here. But maybe you come down onto your forearms. Just kind of see if you can take this moment and kind of enjoy it. This is where it can hurt so good. See if you can really truly let go in some sense, right? If you notice a lot of tension or restriction in the muscles, can you take a moment to kind of soften and release and relax? Unwind, unravel. These moments of truly being present. Just you, your body, your energy. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. If you've come all the way down, let's come back up onto the palms. Heel toe the left foot to the center of the mat. Pushing the bottom towards the back of the room as you flex the toes towards the nose, driving the chin down, the shin bone closer towards your ankle. Awareness of the weight on your fingers, the shoulder girdle pulling back. Can you allow your practice to be full of heart openers, right? Maybe you start to notice where your body begins to collapse over your heart, these moments where you can really be present in form and posture and kind of change that up, because if you start to really notice that over time, just changing your posture, pulling the shoulders back can fundamentally change the way you feel almost instantaneously. And so the more you become aware of that in this space, the more that you'll be aware of it outside of it. And it brings a lot of confidence into your being. So I encourage you to start to see if you can just kind of connect with that a little bit more. For 3, 2, and 1. Good. When you're ready, maybe push some of the weight back so you can bring the left foot back, hips to heels, hands to knees. Let's sit up tall and breathe together. Inhale. And exhale. Again, inhale. And exhale. Notice what you feel. Good job. we're gonna come down and do a little bit of a seated flow here. So I'm gonna flex the toes up towards the sky, taking a deep inhale, reaching up, and on your exhale, just reaching forward. Grab what's ever available to you. So just find your bind. It can be your calves, your ankles, your feet. Use your fingers to find that grip and find your own resistance. It's really important to find resistance in your own body and to know how much to use. And only you can know that, right? Nobody can do that for you. So you got to figure it out. So pull the shoulders back here. See if you can manage to create enough resistance so the shoulders, scapula can move to the back of the body and the heart can move forward. I often like to move with breath, so you'll see these kind of fluctuations of my body. So on the inhale, I'll essentially release, create space, and on the exhale, I'll move the body into that space. So there's this kind of fluid motion that you may see me do, but it's up to you if you want to move or not, as long as you're breathing, right? And then just kind of noticing your body at the same time. For 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Let's inhale to rise. Coming into our boat posture. So boat is a shaking technique. I often bring these techniques into practice because once you bring things up to the surface in your body, you can kind of release the residual stuff that you've brought to the surface through these shakes, and they can feel really good and make your body feel a lot lighter throughout the entire day. So we'll bring the fingers forward the same way as our toes. When you're ready, you can bring the knees up to a bent position like this, or you can straighten, and then when you feel ready, you can release the arms. See if you can sit up nice and tall here so you're not dumping into the lower spine, but rather getting nice and long. And notice that tremor, notice that shake. Your body letting go of all that extra stuff, right? That top layer, just releasing it. For 3, 2, and 1. Good job. Let's cross at the shins or the ankles. Take a moment to sit your bottom up off the mat. And then let's just sit down and ride that wave. Notice what you feel. Oftentimes there's this kind of surge of energy after a movement in our bodies like that, but sometimes we don't take the time to notice it. And so to just go inside for a moment can be really powerful. I feel a lot of tingling in my fingers and toes. That's a healing response. Take a moment to notice the richness of moments like this where you're totally present with this live wire of energy. That can help you evolve in many layers of your life as you become more sophisticated in all of your senses. Yeah? Let's make our way down onto the mats. So bringing the feet forward like the number 11. We're going to take a deep inhale, and with your exhale, just make your way down. See if you can take your time here, so nothing rushed. I'm going to take a moment to knock my knees in towards each other with the feet nice and wide. And I'm going to come into a fish pose, maybe and a fish pose and a counter posture before we end today, just to kind of open up the spine. So with fish pose, I'd like for you to try to either get your head off the mat or very light. And again, only you can see what's happening there or feel what's happening there. So you need to feel it for yourself. If it becomes too much, if there's too much weight on your head, then relax and let go, okay? So we're gonna point the toes in a straight line like so. Take the hands on either side of your body like this. Firm into the mat. Push through the forearms as you lift up. Now this is considered a heart opener, so I'm gonna take my head off the mat and just let my heart shine, keeping the toes pointed, so there's a lot of intentional movement here. If your head is touching the ground, that's okay. I just want you to be aware of how much pressure is there. And if you need to lighten it, please try to. For 5, find the breath. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, and then make your way down. A nice little counter for this is to bring the knees in towards the chest. Maybe you flex the feet. You can also lift the head up towards the knees if that's in your practice. For 3, 2, and 1. Good, making your way down onto the mat for final Shavasana.
Option to lay in a symmetrical shape. Some people like to cross their ankles. Some people like to lay in a fetal position. Whatever you choose, just take a moment to notice the differences you feel now from when you started. See if you can just connect with that quiet, respectful stillness, with a sense of accomplishment. Maybe you also take a moment to come back to that intention you set at the beginning of class. Always allowing your intention to be so much more than something you randomly set on your yoga mat, but something that you come back to. Something that becomes a part of who you are. Something that makes you truly better. And then when you're ready, maybe you take a deep inhalation and a sweeping, cleansing exhale. And maybe you try swallowing. Maybe you begin to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Bring awareness and intention back into your peripheral points. And maybe you choose to continue laying in that shape, or maybe you come up and join me back in a seated position. It's totally up to you where you'd like to be. And once you come into your final shape, whether you're continuing to lay on the floor, maybe you bring the hands to prayer, thumbs to sternum, bow the head. You are beautiful because you let yourself feel, and that is a brave thing indeed. Have a wonderful day. Namaste. Bye-bye.